after a small break that I decided to take. I wanted to film a lot more videos this year, but just this year wasn't the best for me, and there was really just no motivation to do any of it. But if you're here, you know that I got inspiration from like the amazing show The Walking Dead, which I'm very angry at right now, but it did inspire me to make this video, so I guess that's something. This is why I think Carl is not going to die. This has probably been covered by a few people. I've seen some stuff, but I'm not sure if people have gone into as much detail. I've been watching The Walking Dead for 3 years now, around there. I didn't start it like when it first came out because I was a bit young and none of my family's like into stuff like that, so it just wasn't a thing until I found it and I was like, oh my god, and I've been obsessed since. So yeah, Carl is like my baby, like he can't die. Carl's not gonna die, it's the whisperers. That's been a thing that I've been seeing around, and I agree with it, honestly. There's like a lot of stuff that I like researched through and I was like, like you're right, like I think it's that, but there are so many other things that are like going against that, you know, like proving it wrong, and it's just stressing me out because I don't want my boy to die. So yeah, the whole thing with the whispers, let's get into that. Talking Dead, after season 8, episode 8, which is the last one that they aired from this time point, Scott Gimple, who's one of the writers for the show, was on it, and he said that there was a scene that they show of Carl getting bit. They don't show him getting bit, they show like the before and then the after. So yeah, I was like, okay, let me go find that real quick. So I found it, and it's pretty sketch, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty, I don't trust it. I don't trust any of them, honestly. Like, I don't trust anyone who's saying anything. So I'm just gonna be in denial until I see him being put into the ground, pretty much. So first of all, I would just like to point out how this zombie that bit him, looks like it's wearing a mask. And everything that I'm about to say, either they did a really shit job, which they usually don't do. I'll show you a picture of like a regular zombie that they usually have on the show compared to the one that bit Carl. They're either just like really like getting shitty and like no idea what they're doing, which is a possibility, you know, I don't doubt it, because they have done some pretty questionable stuff in the past, but yeah, so they either are doing that or they know exactly what they're doing and they're just trying to fuck with all of us, you know, get us in our feels to, you know, get angry, get emotional for the show. They tend to do that. So yeah, so what I was saying, the zombie that bit Carl, it looks like a mask. Around the eyes, it kind of looks like there's like a flap sort of thing. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but in the pictures you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you don't know who the Whisperers are these group of people from the Walking Dead comic books, because the TV show is based off of the comics, and they wear zombie masks. Don't really know why. I know it's like they use it to like blend in and like travel easier, which is smart, but it's still a bit odd. But you know, it's Walking Dead. It's all really weird. I was checking to like see just in case if it was like a zombie, maybe it was just bad makeup or something, but like he wasn't like missing like limbs or like anything like that, so it was just, there was nothing like showing that he was like truly dead. I know this sounds insane, but I'm not letting my son die. Like, he's not dying. Now, I would like to talk about the bite mark that Carl has. Oh. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I don't know. Once again, don't know if they're just doing it because they've gotten real shit and, you know, just forgot what they're doing, or if they know exactly what they're doing. So his bite mark, it's just teeth marks into his skin, which isn't too absurd for like a zombie show, you know, I've seen that happen on other stuff, but for Walking Dead, usually, no matter what character they are, if they're like just a random character, if they're a main character, if they're super important or if they're not, their skin gets like ripped off, like they like pull it like where more, you can see like the flesh being torn or the muscle, like they go in. So to back this up a little bit more, I was watching the scene where he gets bit, you know, and it wasn't like the zombie that was biting him didn't have a lot of time to tear into him, because he really did. I'll play a clip for you, but he had definitely enough time to be able to tear into Carl and rip him out, you know, like just to tear him up. After he bites him, he like gets up and like looks at him. Like, it's just very strange to me how this zombie's acting. I don't know if I've just like, if I'm making it up in my head that it's really weird, or if it's just like that's how it is, like it's weird. I don't know. Like, honestly, give me your opinion. Just, you know, realize that this is an opinion and a conspiracy theory and not like actual facts or anything. I just don't want my son to die, so like be nice. But like give me your opinion as well. When Carl was bit, he didn't really react. Like, he didn't like, I don't know, like, okay, yeah, he had a reaction, but he didn't like scream or like cry or like even grunt. He didn't make any noise. He just kind of looked at it and was like, LOL, and like he got up. Like, it was just weird. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone who's been bit on the show, they're like screaming in pain. And I understand Carl's tough, but he's like, he's supposed to be like 14. He's not gonna be tougher than these like 30-year-old guys who are like buff getting bit. Like, that's just what I'm thinking. So if he does end up dying, the writers just did a really shitty job on this. I'm sorry, I'm being so like mean, but it's just, I don't understand why they would think to do this, to like make him genuinely die. So that's why I'm like, this has to be like some big like misunderstanding, you know, like they're trying to play it like he's dying, but he's not gonna. The walker that bit him sort of walks funny. There's a scene where you see him like approaching like with a group of walkers, and he's kind of just, I don't know, he walks a bit funny. I'll play that clip for you. Sort of seems like he's trying too hard to blend in, and you know, the one thing that does have me a bit confused is if it is a whisperer, why did he bite him? I don't know, but they've done a lot of weird things on the show, so I'm not gonna be surprised, you know. I did notice that the walkers, like, makeup style, I guess, looked a bit weird. I don't know if I'll attach pictures or not, because I'm not sure if I want to go through looking for it. But maybe it's just me, but like when I started watching the season, I was like, oh, like maybe they're trying a new style or something. But like now that like this has happened with Carl, I'm like, oh, maybe like they were trying to make them look different so they look like whisperers, you know? I don't know. Yeah, the whispers, they're supposed to be coming up anyway, like soon. So this would sort of be like the perfect like gateway for them to be introduced. Why I'm so like, why are they doing this type of like reaction? Cause it just makes no sense to me, like genuinely. They say it makes, I think I saw something that they said where it was like, oh, it makes for a better story long-term wise, and I'm like, that is complete like bullshit. Like, no. Carl, in the comics at least, has a big role. Graphic novel as well, pretty big friggin' role, and I don't know why they would change it for the show. I get they're all their own things, you know, Robert Kirkman has said that before, like the game and the show and all the other stuff, they're all their own things, so they're gonna be a little different. But this is just such a major thing. Like, with the Andrea thing, like, I was, like, upset about it, but, like, it's just Andrea, you know? Because if you're, like, a big, like, Walking Dead fan, you know that Andrea was, like, a major character in the comics and only just died recently. And in, like, the show, she dies in, like, the 3rd or 4th season, which is, like, what? But, like, Carl, like, that's Rick's son. That's the protagonist's son. You can't just throw, take Judith. Like, I love Judith, but take her. I don't want my son to die. I would rather her go. That's terrible to say, but Judith, I don't know. I love her. I just don't understand why they're trying to change it so much. Like, it's good how it is. I don't know. Ah! Like, I love the show, but I don't know what they're trying to do with it. It doesn't seem like it's going in a good direction. And, like, not to only just blame Scott Gimple, because I know that there are a lot of other writers for the show, but, like, Scott, what the fuck are you letting them do? Or what are you doing if it is your ideas? Like, what are you doing? I'm sorry, dude, but, like, it's just, I don't know. This poor show. See, I was upset about Glenn and Abraham, of course, but Glenn, he died early on in the comics, so it was kind of just like you knew already. And I'm not sure about Abraham, but I never really was that attached to Abraham. That's just me personally. I was more upset about Glenn just because, like, Maggie. But yeah, I don't know. I would, like, of course I was upset, but, like, it's completely different with Carl just because Carl is such a more loving character. I know a lot of people don't like him just because he's, like, annoying and angsty or whatever, but that's how most teenagers are. Like, that's how they are. Consider it in his point of view, you know? Like, he grew up in the apocalypse. Like, he's really had no normal life. Yeah, so it's a bit different. And I'm just giving him some sympathy because he's trying his best and he's doing what he thinks is right, which is the best thing. I know everyone is, but sometimes people get what's right and what's best for survival. And I'm going way off topic, but this is like my therapy for Carl. Like, I'm just very upset about it. I will cry if they kill him off, honestly. I will. Like, genuine, like, tears. Like, ugly sob, I'm talking. I got a little emotional when they showed the bite and everything. My water bottle's squeaking. I got a bit emotional when they showed the bite, but, like, here I am now, like, explaining why I don't think it's, like, real. Why are you squeaking? I'm not sure, so I don't want to get, like, all emotional. Like, the whole thing with, like, Glenn, where everyone thought he died that one time with the dumpster thing, you know? I was just kind of like, okay, we're just gonna wait it out. We're gonna let the storm roll over. We're gonna see what happens. And that's why I didn't, like, get emotional during that, just because I know how this show is sometimes, you know? They try to, like, poke your heart and you're just like, nope, like, I know what you're doing. They tend to do this, like, often. Like, ending either, like, mid-season finale, or season finale with a big cliffhanger. They've done that multiple times, with Glenn under the dumpster, which he ended up being fine, or with who Negan kills in the lineup. That was 2, for example. There's been many more. Carl, he does look very sick. He does look, like, extremely sick. Which is why I'm also like, like, what are you doing? Like, please don't actually kill him off. But he also, you know, he did have to, like, run very quickly through Alexandria to get down into the sewers and everything. So it could have just been from that, you know, being all worn out, and, like, I don't know. He could just have a normal infection as well from the bite being, you know, open and shit. In the future dream, one thing that confuses me, either this is, like, a plot hole or it's like, LOL, Carl's not gonna die, is the future dream scene that Rick has. It's just weird to me that Rick would know what he looks like in the future, you know, with, like, being shaved and a beard and a cane and a hand and, like, all this stuff. When it's like, wouldn't you imagine yourself being complete, you know, like, having all your body parts, and why would he be bald? And Carl's still there, and that's just, I don't know, it's very strange to me. Once again, just shitty writing, or they know exactly what they're doing, which I hope is the second one, and they're not gonna do something stupid. They show in the last episode as well that the Doctor and Gabriel are on their way to help Maggie, which I think is a bit coincidental, considering that Carl is now dying, you know? just a bit odd. Once again with Scott Gimple, when he was on Talking Dead, he did the same exact thing with Glenn being under the dumpster, and now with Carl having a bite. He never says a clear yes or no answer. He goes around and sort of just backs the question. Like, I don't know how to explain it. He says Carl's storyline is important moving forward. So, I don't know. Like, they might do a whole thing where, like, I don't know. And I don't think Carl's gonna be a cure or anything, because that's just a bit whack. Like, he looks, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna be the case. Hopefully, if that's what they have to do, make him the cure. I don't care, just, like, don't let him die. If Carl is the cure, I don't think it's gonna be, like, a whole magical thing where it's like, oh, he'll be able to bring walkers back to life, because that's a bit insane and super, like, crap science fiction sounding. But, like, more so just cure the infection of people getting bit, you know? So, like, if they're, like, alive and they're just sick from the infection, he can cure that. Because that makes a bit more sense, like, medically, because that's usually how medical things work. Like, you can't just bring someone back who died from the flu years and years ago just because we have a cure for it now, you know? If Carl is to die, which I hope that is not the case, I have 3 theories on who will end his life, because that is always a big deal. So first, Rick, because of his dad. I'm not too sure about that one, just because I know how Rick is. He was a mess with Lori, I almost forgot her name, and I don't think he'd be able, he was just a mess about his wife, so I don't think he would even be able to with his own son, you know? Like, I feel like that's 10 times worse. So possibly Michonne may have to end up doing it, just because Carl and Michonne, they do have, like, a bond, family bond type thing. Because when Lori died, Michonne showed up, and they've been, like, that's been his, like, motherly figure since. So she may have to do it for Rick's sake, you know? And lastly, this makes me so sad to talk about. Like, genuinely, I'm, like, getting goosebumps. Like, this is terrible. Lastly, it may even have to be himself, Carl, doing it, just because he did it for his mom, and he wouldn't want anyone to feel the same way or know how that feels to have to end the life of someone that's close to you and, like, family-wise. And he doesn't want anyone else to feel that way, so he'd probably be like, I'll just do it, you know, and, like, be all strong, and I don't want him to die. I'm gonna cry. That's pretty much all the conspiracy that I have for Carl not dying. But I just want to talk real quick about everything I've been seeing, from producers to characters and actors on the show, talking about Carl's death. Chandler Riggs, for a fact, I'm pretty sure he did say that it's, like, official type thing. I think. I don't know exactly. I don't remember. But I don't trust him. Andrew Lincoln as well. Don't trust him. I saw a thing about Chandler's dad saying something. Don't trust him either. They could, like, see, I understand, like, what's the point in lying, but why would they, you know, just say what's gonna happen, you know? Because they are always so keen on, like, this cliffhanging, like, event. Why would they just be like, oh yeah, he is gonna die? Like, what's the point in viewers coming back and seeing what's going on if they're just gonna say what's going on, you know? It could just be for, like, the hype of the show, for them to get people interested. I think it's complete bullshit if it's true, because Chandler Riggs does not deserve that. He took off the years of college he was talking about, and bought a house where they're filming the show, and I'm sure he doesn't want to be in Georgia, but he did it for the sake of the show, and then they fired him around his birthday, which makes me so upset, because that is ridiculous and so mean, but I'm hoping that none of it's true, and it's just some thing that they're gonna have in the story, then Carl's gonna be okay, which I know sounds a bit ridiculous, but him dying also sounds ridiculous. So I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to think. I hope they figure it out, because a lot of people are angry with Scott Gimple, and I know it's not completely his fault, but he did have a say, so just gonna say that. My opinion may change in a few months, but this is it right now, and it's just an opinion. No need to get butthurt. But let me know what you think. Be kind, be nice. Don't completely try and say that my opinion doesn't matter, because it is an opinion, so no one's really does matter. But that's all I have to say, and yeah, hope you liked it. If you did, you can like the video or even subscribe if that's what you're into. I plan to have some covers up, maybe? We'll see. I don't know, I'm gonna try, but yeah. Yeah, I'll see you soon.